Have you ever felt that some women in your life are an impossible mystery to unravel? Like they know something you don't, leaving you confused, trapped in a cycle of doubt and frustration. Maybe you've felt the weight of trying to understand what's really behind their actions, that sense of always being one step behind. Men, this isn't by chance. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists in history, uncovered a dark and shocking truth about certain women that can completely change how you view your relationships. This truth is so powerful, it can free you from confusion, give you clarity, and even transform your confidence in dealing with them. Want to know the secret Jung discovered? Then subscribe now, hit the bell, and watch until the end to catch every revelation that could change everything for you. Picture this: James, an ordinary guy, 32 years old, a successful professional, but with a personal life that felt like a minefield. He shared something you might have experienced yourself. James met Sophia, a charismatic, intelligent woman who seemed perfect. At first, everything was amazing. They laughed together, made plans, and James felt he had finally found someone who understood him. But gradually, something shifted. Sophia started acting in ways that left him confused. One day, she was sweet and attentive. The next, distant and cold. James tried to figure out what he was doing wrong, but the harder he tried, the more it felt like he was digging a bottomless pit. He began to doubt himself, wondering if he was the problem. The confidence he once had, that sense of being in control, started crumbling. And the worst part, he couldn't explain why. That feeling of being lost, of trying to please someone who seems never satisfied, is something many men have faced. Maybe you're going through it now, or you have in the past, and you still carry that weight in your chest. The good news? You're not alone, and it's not your fault. There's an explanation for this, and it comes from one of history's greatest thinkers, Carl Jung. He uncovered something profound about the human psyche, especially about how some women operate on a psychological level that can trap you without you even realizing it. Let's dive into it now, because understanding this truth could be the first step to taking back control of your life. Let's dive deeper into James's story, because what he experienced with Sophia isn't an isolated case. It's something many men face without even realizing it. James, as I mentioned, was an ordinary guy, 32 years old, with a solid career, but his love life turned into an emotional battlefield. He told me that, at first with Sophia, everything felt like a dream. They went out, laughed, planned trips. But gradually, he noticed something strange. Sophia had moments of intense warmth, as if she were the most passionate person in the world, and then suddenly, she turned cold as ice. One day, she sent affectionate messages. The next, she replied with coldness or simply vanished. James tried everything to understand what was happening. He reread old messages, replayed every conversation, every gesture, searching for where he went wrong. Have you been there? That moment when you question every word you said, every action you took, trying to figure out why things don't make sense? It's exhausting. James started feeling like he was losing control, that the confidence he had worked so hard to build was slipping through his fingers. And the worst part, he couldn't explain why. It was as if Sophia had an invisible power over him, a power that made him want to please her at any cost, even if it meant sacrificing his peace of mind. Now here's where Carl Jung, one of history's greatest psychologists, comes in. Jung studied the human mind like no one else, and he discovered something that explains exactly what James was going through. He called it the Anima, the feminine, part that exists in every man's unconscious. This Anima isn't just some random concept. It's a powerful force that shapes how you see women, how you react to them, and most importantly, how they can sometimes manipulate you without even realizing it. Some women, according to Jung, have a natural ability to connect with this part of your psyche. They create an attraction so intense it feels almost magical, like a spell. But here's the dark side, what Jung called the shocking truth. This connection can become a trap. When a woman taps into this energy, consciously or not, she can pull you into a psychological game, where you feel compelled to prove your worth, to chase her approval, to try to decipher what she wants. It's like being stuck in a maze with no map, and every step you take seems to lead you deeper into confusion. James, for example, realized that the more he tried to understand Sophia, the more lost he became. He spent sleepless nights wondering what he could have said or done differently. He started doubting himself, questioning if he was the problem. And that's exactly what the anima can do when it's not understood. It amplifies your insecurities, makes you question your own strength. But here's the good part. Jung didn't just point out the problem, he also gave clues on how to break free from this cycle. Understanding the anima is like getting a map to escape this emotional maze. And what's coming next is even more revealing because Jung went further and discovered something that can completely change how you handle these situations. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be the key to never feeling trapped in this psychological game again. It's so powerful, it can transform your confidence and give you back control. Now that you understand how the anima, this powerful force in your unconscious, can trap you in a cycle of confusion, let's hear what Carl Jung and other experts have to say about it. Jung, who spent decades studying the human psyche, wasn't just throwing ideas around. He delved deep into myths, ancient traditions, and the stories that shaped cultures for thousands of years. He discovered that some women, often without even knowing it, embody archetypes that echo mythological figures like the sirens of ancient Greece or the muses who inspired poets but also manipulated them. These women, according to Jung, don't need a conscious plan to affect you. They operate on an instinctive level, almost as if they know exactly which buttons to push in your mind. That's why James, our friend from the story, felt so lost with Sophia. She, without realizing it, was activating his anima, making him feel a mix of fascination and frustration that kept him hooked. But Jung wasn't the only one to notice this. Other psychologists, like Robert Moore, who studied Jung's archetypes, explained that these dynamics aren't just personal, they're universal. Moore said the anima can be like an invisible chain, pulling you into a role where you feel obligated to seek validation. And here's something few people know. A secret experts keep to themselves. Not every woman does this, on purpose, but those who master this energy, even intuitively, have an almost magnetic power. They can make you feel like you need them to feel complete. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who, with a glance or a word, makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. That's no coincidence. Jung said the key to breaking this cycle is recognizing the anima within you, understanding that it's a part of you, not something the other person controls. But how do you do that? Here's the knowledge few have access to. Jung believed men need to face the anima, not run from it. This means looking inward, confronting your insecurities, and understanding what makes you react so intensely. It's almost like learning the secret language of your own mind. And there's more. Ancient traditions like shamanic practices or the teachings of Greek philosophers also spoke about this. They used rituals and stories to teach men how to master these inner forces, to not be swept away by them. Jung took these ancient ideas and turned them into a science. He said that when you understand the anima, you start seeing the women around you more clearly, without the veil of confusion. For James, this was a game changer. When he started studying Jung, he realized Sophia wasn't the problem. The problem was how he reacted to her. He began asking himself, why do I feel so trapped? What's inside me making me chase her approval? And that's when he found a clue, something Jung called shadow integration, a process that can change everything. But be warned, because what you're about to discover about the shadow is even more intense, and it might show you a side of your mind you've never wanted to face. Now that you know how the anima can trap you in a psychological game, brace yourself, because what comes next is even more intriguing. Carl Jung didn't stop at the anima. He went further and discovered something called the shadow, a part of your mind you probably never wanted to face. The shadow is like a dark closet where you store everything you don't want to admit about yourself, your fears, your insecurities, even your deepest hidden desires. And what's most shocking? Some women, like Sophia in James's story, have a natural ability to tap into this shadow without even realizing it. When this happens, it's as if they shine a spotlight on the parts of you that you try to hide, leaving you vulnerable, exposed, almost like you're naked on a stage. Have you ever felt that? That moment when a woman seems to see right through you, as if she knows exactly where to press to throw you off balance. James felt this with Sophia. He told me that during a dinner, she made a seemingly innocent comment about him seeming insecure. It hit him like an arrow. He spent days thinking, how did she know? Why did that shake me so much? The truth is, the shadow, when activated, can make you act in ways you don't even recognize. Jung said, the shadow is the root of many of our overreactions, especially in relationships. But here's the game changer, something Jung kept as a secret for the few. You don't need to run from the shadow, you can use it to your advantage. Imagine if, instead of feeling trapped, you could turn that energy into something that empowers you, makes you more confident, more centered. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But Jung believed that integrating the shadow is the way to achieve this. The problem is, he never gave a complete recipe for how to do it. He left clues, fragments of ideas that only the most curious can piece together. And here's one of those clues. The shadow isn't just about your flaws. It also holds your greatest strengths, the ones you've never explored. James started to realize this when he stopped trying to please Sophia and began asking himself, what's inside me making me react this way? He found something unexpected, a strength he didn't even know he had. But how did he do it? And how can you do the same? I'll tell you part of it now, but the final piece of the puzzle, the one that can change everything, is saved for the end. You'll need to stick around to discover how to turn this shadow into your greatest ally. Now that you know about the anima and the shadow, let's talk about how to use this knowledge to transform your life. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to look at a woman like Sophia, and instead of feeling confused or trapped, you feel in control, with a clarity that lets you act with confidence, without the weight of trying to figure out what she wants. Carl Jung believed that by understanding and integrating these forces in your psyche, you can reach a level of self-awareness that changes everything. This isn't just theory. James, the guy from our story, is living proof of it. Remember how he felt lost with Sophia, how he spent nights trying to understand why she made him feel so small. When James started studying Jung's ideas, something clicked. He realized the problem wasn't Sophia, it was how he reacted to her. The anima and the shadow were controlling his emotions, making him seek validation where he'd never find it. So, he decided to change the game. He started paying attention to his own reactions, asking himself, why does this affect me so much? What's inside me begging to be seen? This process, which Jung called integration, brought benefits James never imagined. First, he gained clarity. He stopped feeling like a puppet in Sophia's hands. He began to notice patterns in her behavior. Things that used to confuse him now made sense. Second, he regained his confidence. By facing the shadow, he discovered hidden strengths, like the ability to set boundaries without guilt. Third, and perhaps most importantly, he found inner peace. It was no longer about proving something to Sophia or anyone else. It was about being at peace with himself. And guess what happened? Sophia started reacting differently. When James stopped chasing her approval, she began to respect him more. This isn't magic, it's psychology. Jung said that when you integrate these parts of your psyche, you change the energy you project. The people around you feel it, and relationships shift. Have you ever imagined living without the anxiety of trying to please someone who seems impossible to satisfy? Or having the confidence to say no without fear of losing something? These are the benefits that come when you understand what Jung discovered, but there's a crucial detail, something James learned the hard way, and you need to know to avoid the same trap. This final piece of the puzzle is so powerful it can define how you handle any woman in the future. Want to know what it is? Then, don't miss the end, because what's coming next will show you how to apply this to your life. You've made it this far, and that shows you're ready to change how you view your relationships. James, after understanding the anima and the shadow, discovered that true power isn't about trying to control Sophia or anyone else. It's about mastering yourself. Carl Jung left a legacy that goes beyond explaining why some women confuse you. He gave you the tools to take back control of your mind, your confidence, your life. But here's the mystery Jung didn't fully reveal, and that James only discovered after months of applying these ideas. There's a final step, a practice Jung called individuation, which is like the master key to unlocking your psyche's full potential. This practice can help you never feel trapped again, but it requires something few are willing to do: face the deepest truth about who you are. What is this practice? How does it work? And why can it change not only how you deal with some women, but with any challenge in your life? I won't tell you everything now because it's too big for just one video. In the next video, we'll dive into individuation and reveal how you can apply it today to transform your life. So, if you want to uncover this final secret, subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell so you don't miss the next video, give a like if this made sense to you, and share it with that friend who needs to hear this. In the comments, tell me, have you ever felt like a woman knew you better than you know yourself? Or what situation left you trapped like James? Your story could help other men going through the same thing. Stay tuned, because what's coming next will take you to a whole new level.